Just relax for a minute and let the shoulders go. And take a few cleansing breaths. And relax everything. Just concentrate on the breath. And notice how you're breathing today. Notice that you are breathing today. And be grateful. Just take a few seconds to get centered. And feel that you're sitting in a safe place with nothing else to do. Let any thoughts that are still rolling through just roll by. And the Omkar mantra is very powerful. It's a mantra that precedes all the Vedic writings, which are codes delineating knowledge of all different types. And the Omkar mantra contains the primal sound, the origin of everything in the universe. So everything there is complete. So take a nice deep breath, and then we'll together say the whole mantra. And just take a couple of deep breaths. Come back and give a little more your eyes. Nice to see you all. Maybe we'll go around and just, if you can think of one thing that you're grateful for today. And Jared, you start.
Just one thing?
Yeah. I'm sorry we have to limit you.
I mean, I'm grateful that we have this opportunity at the office.
Nice.
Overall health.
Good to have you, your health.
Grateful.
Grateful for the weather.
Yeah. Thank you. Great.
For good health, grateful for good health and transparent. So I don't have to miss anything.
Great. And Belinda just came back from North Carolina. He put on a large event out there, kind of just like this, only with about 1,600 people. He was like organized it.
Please go ahead.
So
Oh,
that's my name.
okay.
And so I've noticed that just hearing what you're grateful for, uh, it affected me. It's saying grateful that you're here, and that someone once told me that whatever you appreciate appreciates. It grows, and it's a it's an aspect of this meditation that we're doing to bring our awareness to things that we're actually grateful for. And when we get in that state, in that flow of gratitude, it's very powerful. Because then we start seeing how everything's working for us. Actually, the environment is friendly. And that fear goes away. And we are steeped in gratitude. Because in gratitude, there's an idea that there's a purpose behind everything that happens to me. There may be things that seem inconvenient at the time, but through meditation, I actually learn how all these events in my life are interconnected, and they're friendly, ultimately. They're leading me to a point that I can't see right now. And there are two aspects there are two benefits one gains, according to all the Bhakti scriptures, when one practices meditation regularly. And especially in regard to the mantra, we started this Maha Mantra last week, but there's two categories of benefit. He's going to put detachment, because Chad, it's in one point, and then put non-attachment. So these are two very valuable features or qualities. So the word jnana, everyone can say jnana. Jnana. It is our word knowledge in English is derived from the Sanskrit word jnana. Now it becomes knowledge, and it's a state of knowing, of being aware, of awareness. And in the Bhagavad Gita, knowledge really means to be able to see the difference between myself and the field. We talked about how the body is a field and myself is the occupier of the field. Or if we talk about how there's a bird and a cage. And so here's the cage, and inside sits the bird. And I may spend a lot of time polishing the cage, but the bird's inside saying, hungry, hungry, hungry. And all the Bhakti literatures and the transcendental literatures of the world say that this is the foundation of advancement in spiritual life. It's very powerful because when I identify myself as the cage and I'm polishing the cage, then I don't ultimately feel satisfaction. I don't satisfy the hunger that I'm actually feeling. And there's a lot of anxiety as well. For instance, when you drive your car around, when you identify with your car, there's a kind of way that you interact with the world that's ridden with anxiety. First of all, you're afraid when somebody touches it, it hurts your car. And then there's a way that one might deal impersonally with others when one's driving and so forth. Because you don't have a direct connection with them. You don't see who's in the other car and so forth. It's a layer of disconnect from others in the world. But through meditation, especially through this mantra process, because it has a special spiritual potency. It comes from a higher realm. It invokes this jnana, this knowledge. And it's not something you have to reach for. It's something that descends. That there's beautiful, in The Merchant of Venice by Shakespeare, which you've probably heard before. The quality of mercy is not strained. It falleth like the gentle rain from heaven. Shakespeare fans on that? I'll read it again. The quality of mercy is not strained. It falleth like the gentle rain from heaven. So when one chants the mantra, it makes this rain-like situation where this kind of special quality can come into us, this jnana, gives us knowledge, so we can see for ourselves the difference between me and the age. And the other is vairagya. So this ra, it means actually everything I see in the world is colored by my desire. I want, I see, and I'm chasing after so many things that I don't have an objectivity of the world. And it's a kind of torture, actually, in the way in which desires come one after another, and I'm habituated to following them. And I get pulled from one direction and then another. But the mantra has the power to give us some objectivity attached from these various desires that come through our mental system. And frankly, we can't even count how many come through. I'm not even aware, but they're by millions. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about how the ocean, although being filled with rivers from all sides, doesn't move. It stays at the same level. Global warming notwithstanding. It maintains its level. And similarly, we may have these desires coming into our mental system. Have you ever experienced this? Desires coming into your mental system? Anything? Have you ever noticed that you might be doing one thing and then some idea comes to your mind about experience? Like, can you think of anything specific? That's one. You check email and then you forget what you were even starting to you're doing in the first place. And you see what I'm talking about? The desires running into the ocean, just like our mind, it's like the ocean, and then the desires are coming in. Have you experienced this before? Desires, ideas coming into your mind? If I had $1 million, if I had millions of dollars, then I wouldn't have to work. Right? So in the Gita, Krishna talks about a person who's in a state of liberation from these kinds of desires. And he says that it's like a person's mind is like an ocean that isn't disturbed by all the rivers that come. They're still coming in, but it's not disturbed by it. It's not that they stop. The desires are going there, but I'm detached from it. And that detachment is called vairagya. I don't see the world the way it is, I see it the way I am. The way my consciousness is colored affects the way I look at it. So I was reminded of this experience, like say if you decided you were going to buy a Volkswagen, some other kind of car. And the next thing, when you're driving on the road, you know this Volkswagen, you're thinking about that. So the state of our consciousness determines the way we see the world and so forth. What practices for meditation and regulation? Yeah, sees the difference between the self and the body, and also feels non-attachment from all the different things that are flowing through one's mental. And this brings peace, kind of peace of mind. Very, very powerful. And it gives flexibility. So, flexibility is really very important for elements that are flexible in nature are strong. You'll notice that they can withstand forces of nature over time because they can move and change. They're not brittle. So our outlook on life becomes more flexible when we get down to hierarchy with practice of meditation. And also there's a kind of inner determination that develops from developing integrity. And so there's a way in which through Jnana Vairagya, one learns how to take the positive lesson out of everything that happens, and also an integrity in that one sees how to work for one's highest good. And therefore, the meditation also takes one to the position of what's called sattva. And this is a very important state. Sometimes translated as goodness. It means when this rod, or the coloration of my consciousness, begins to clear, and I can see myself as the body. And sattva means that I can distinguish with others a common essence. And I'll see, for instance, not the various bodies. I see them as couplings, but I see that there's a commonality behind it. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives the definition of a learned person as one who sees everybody as simply a covering of spiritual essence. And in that state, one relates to people in a very different way. Through the subtle. Brief summary of the kinds of qualities that are documented in the various bhakti texts that talk about the benefits of meditation. And simply by exposing oneself to the mantra, being around it, hearing it, these kinds of qualities start to develop. And practice, just one thing about practice, okay? And that is that bad habits are easy to form but hard to live with. Good habits are hard to form but easy to live with. So taking the time to develop the habit of getting into the vibration of the mantra and practicing a little bit of the meditation every day, will, after a while, even though it's hard to develop, mind will want to take us away from easier things. That it becomes extremely beneficial for many different parts of our life. And today I want to introduce to our meditation practice Kirtan, which we did last week briefly. But this time I'm going to introduce a little bit of rhythm and music. And because it's a classical music, I'm going to say I'm going to come in. And this drum is called a pole. It's made out of clay, and this is leather from cow that has died naturally, called a hinsa leather, non-violent leather. Specifically has a strap around it so that if you have to, you can get up and move with the drum. Because sometimes when you're doing this kind of kirtan, then it's nice to be able to move back and forth. And I will teach you one step today, the traditional step you can do, which makes the experience a lot nicer. Would you like to learn one dance step? Okay, let's try. This step is called the Swami. And it's a pretty easy step to do. All you have to do in the Swami is you move from left to right, from left to right. And then, so you got that? This is the beginning of the Swami. And then at certain times in the Kirtan, then you can put your hands up like this. This is the full Swami. Full Swami. And it's hard to keep your hands up all the time, so then you can go back to the half Swami. And then this is what we call a mudra. And some people think that this means prayer, and it's related to a lot of religious kind of iconography. But actually, this is a mudra which is meant to open us up, channel energy from the higher sources of the universe. Because you're holding it open apart like this, and it's pulling energy in. So this is the modified Swami, and you can go like the praying Swami like this. So these three steps. And if you ever go to a Kirtan, and you probably will after you get used to what we're doing in here, and you can do the Swami step, people will say, "Where's your do the Swami?" Okay, so that's a few. So let's start by sitting down, and I'll start the Kirtan And again, it's call and response, so I'm going to sing out and then a tune, and then you just sing back and try to follow me. And at a certain point, I'll get up and then we can try the song stuff. How's that sound? Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, everyone else. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hey, do we just stand up for the last part? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So, I was mentioning that they had an event recently. I remember it close. It's about 1,600 people came at a retreat center, and maybe 6 hours a day they had kirtan,
Wow.
and very transformative. I saw most of it on the internet, and you notice that there's kind of a great power in the vibration, and when everyone's doing the mantra together, there's great movement of the spiritual energy that comes from the higher strata. And I talked to a lot of the people who lived afterwards, and every one of them said that just being in that environment and doing that kind of mantra for a few days really changed everything in their lives, their outlook, and how they feel, and everything like that. So this is a recommended process for especially this age. It's mentioned in the Bhakti writings that in this age, it's very difficult to practice going to the forest and sitting down and meditating for a long period of time, which takes a lot of practice and undisturbed place. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, you'll find that in the 6th chapter, Krishna talks about how one has to sit and in a lonely place, and then make a seat that's not too high or too low, and have to sit there for a long time. Once you go to a secluded place, put your grass on the ground, cover it with the deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low, should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activity, fixing the mind at one point. And then later in this chapter, when Krishna talks about how to control the mind, the student Arjuna said, that sounds practically impossible. He said it's like trying to control the wind. The mind is very powerful, obstinate, and very difficult to control. So then Krishna recommends that through practice and attachment, and one can make progress at this point. And then you find this was written 5,000 years ago. 500 years ago, a teacher, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, came who introduced this kind of meditation to kirtan, which is recommended in all the Bhakti scriptures, but especially for this age. There's so much turbulence, and there's lots of vibrations going through the air that you can't even see. I've seen in India, in some of these sacred places, that some of these yogis used to sit in caves underneath the ground, 8 feet underneath the ground. Go down there, you can't hear anything. Completely silent and still. And it's almost scary how still it is there. I get used to all the vibrations that are going on around me. I don't know how much they're actually disturbing me. And there are unseen vibrations in the air. So we don't have too many caves or places where we can go to get away from a lot of these different services. But through this kirtan, which is the singing along with instruments in the group, the vibration is so powerful that it actually has the potency to cut through a lot of these vibrations and bring us to this transcending experience. Any reflections so far? Just from your kirtan, any thoughts that you have about doing this today?
I have to say, I go to a group class twice a week, at least twice a week. It's about 160 people. We chant one class. And I have to say, I don't do it at least twice a week. I don't really come to those kind of
How do you feel about it today?
How do you do this alone when you're alone? Because it's harder, right? It's grouping it.
It's amazing. In fact, well, we have the quiet meditation. You know, we did japa. I think we did japa last week, before maybe. So that's one thing that you can do a practice by yourself. Very pleasing, actually, to take some time alone and just say the mantra and read it and listen to it. So the japa, just as a reminder, we'll just try it. Just silently, if you just sit up a little bit straight, good for the spine, keeps the energy going up, and then we'll repeat the mantra for about a minute, and just loud enough so that you can hear it. And this is a practice you can do at home. Sit in a chair or wherever you're comfortable, and just about this loud, and you can do it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So there we just did 10 mantras in a row, and there are, you can practice that a little bit every day. Just, you can do that. And you can also sing the mantra. Think about this mantra. It's written in the vocative form, Sanskrit. It's open mantra. Anyone can chant it, and there's no time, place, or circumstance. No hard and fast rule. Do it any time. You can sing it when you're in the car, or when you're in the shower, wherever you please. You can sing the mantra. And you'll feel the effect. And if you do it at home, you can just clap your hands, or if you have other people that come over, you can also do that kind of a call and response like you just did. And people like it; they'll come over and they can sit and they can chant for a little while. And then if you add different instruments to it, which is not necessary, but one thing about kirtan that's very powerful is that rhythm and melody really have a heart-opening effect. There's certain tunes that create a mood, and the rhythm keeps everyone very attentive and engaged and so forth. And so, if you add something like that to the kirtan, you'll notice that very engrossing. Any other thoughts, experience about the kirtan?
I would expect to say, me and Kyle in the 70s, there was a lot of sort of practitioners, all of them practitioners. We have, there was kind of stigma on them, so there was like, other world music to college for their kind of other music. So I did have an experience today of thinking about that, and how funny it is, right? That here we are now, basically doing that. But it's like, I'm so far since that was really funny. No.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm noticing it everywhere that it's becoming very mainstream. I mean, kirtan, no one had heard of kirtan before, but like in the 70s, no one heard of that. My teacher came from India and he introduced this style of kirtan. And now, practically everywhere you go in the world, kirtan is, you can find a place to do kirtan. And very, very popular. I mean, there's musicians who dedicate their life to kirtan. The country western rock and roll. No, I do kirtan. They're more in the professional mode, but still, that shows that how it's become popular. And the reason is that people are moved by it. Is a powerful effect.
There's more dance moves than slower moves.
Yeah, there's other dance moves you could see. Some of the boys that dance in a group, and they really have a lot of really nice, beautiful group, and so the group dances together. Sometimes, like in simple ways, they're kind of moving forward like this and then back. And so you get rows of people, who are singing like that. And I've seen in other places where they're really expert. Hungary is one place where I go, where there's a lot of kirtan, and some of them are very expert at dancing. I saw over the internet over the weekend that there was a lot of really choreographed dancing. It's very fun and expressive. He did, he missed it. They know 3 dance moves. The half swami, the full swami, and the frame swami. We learn these 3. So, in the poetry of one of the great saints from several hundred years ago, who really popularized this kind of kirtan over India, he said that Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan, that the vibration is coming from a higher level to a lower level. We've heard the word avatar, maybe that the movie is popular. You've heard of it, avatar. So the word literally means to come from a higher level into our experience. So the idea of the kirtan and yoga is not that I'm trying to grasp anything with my intellect necessarily, but I'm opening my heart and I'm availing myself to the special concession that's coming down. And that falls like rain if you just open up to it, and etc. is going to come in. And so that experience, if you just there's an old saying probably heard God helps those who help themselves. Like you used to say, helping oneself means putting oneself in front of the vibration. Because just by doing that, then you're hungry. So that was one experience of Kirtan, and then there's japa, which is something that you can practice by yourself. Have any of you tried that at home? Any kind of meditation or chanting that you're doing? Can you tell us what you practice?
One major do about secret. Sometimes I'll do several months. Part of the secret is certification on
So you mentioned Gayatri mantra. This is a very also popular mantra. It's popular since the past many thousands of years. And Gayatri means a song that liberates you, that frees you, a song that frees you. And so there's a lot of songs in the world. We're naturally attracted to songs. This Gayatri means a song that actually brings you to a higher level, elevates you. And that's the whole idea of the science, that the Upanishads say there's one result from making a vibration that's from a material level, and a completely different result that comes from making a vibration that's from spiritual level. And one has to experience it for this. Anybody else on home practice? Yeah.
I used to do, now I don't, not so regularly. Holding, inhaling and holding and releasing at specific number of times.
Breath practice.
Breath practice.
Yes.
And meditation. To be in meditation, I used to do.
And how did you find that?
It was very powerful. There's a special one called Build Up Your Intuition, where you imagine you're in the middle of the sea, and it's fully dark, and you don't know where you are going. There's a storm coming, you have to go to the land, and you have to swim. And you have to, there's a music for that, and it's very powerful because it builds your intuition power because you are closing your eyes, swimming, and you're trying to catch and go to the land, and you know how you're going. So it has been one of the most powerful meditations I've experienced, and it was very fine. Yeah, it's in Kundalini yoga practice.
Anyone else?
So I think I started meditating, but really just like a daily practice or something like that.
In your house?
Yeah, I actually do like my all the thoughts every day. And that's the most, that's the time I can get it.
In the Indian system, the day is divided into muhurtas, 48-minute segments, and each muhurta has a specific characteristic. And there's one that happens before sunrise, that 48 minutes before, it's called the Brahma Muhurta. And in all the various yoga writings, that's kind of the meditation. Kind of like free nectar flowing through the air. If you're just there for it, you catch it at the right time. Kind of like if there's a 99% off sale in which you can take. So partly, the practice is learning some of these things that are beneficial for your own practice and you're doing it at the right time. If you show up somewhere at the wrong time and think, oh, there's nothing happening here. Too much static, is that you don't notice it. If you're at the right time, you can have an experience. And one thing is, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you even get what he calls su-alpam, alpam means tiny, su-alpam means really tiny. If you even get the tiniest experience for yourself, it's the most valuable thing. Yeah. The It's like you have to be there and see it for yourself to experience. And it's called self-effulgent knowledge. It's not something that you have to intellectualize. It's like when the sun comes up, you know it's light. You can see things for yourself. So this is what the object of this kind of practice is, that this self-revealing knowledge comes to us naturally. There's ways of attracting that. And learning different aspects of the practice is very helpful. So the first thing in the morning we try to do. Anyone else try anything at home? You're using the mantra. That's very effective, actually, and I should say very. I don't want to close the talking saying it's very effective for you, but how is it for you? It's a very recommended process to keep the mantra going throughout the day. There are many gaps, and then we may do things as we're walking from here to there. You just practice keeping the mantra going, either just under your breath, or you can say it in your mind, and you'll see that it has a way of giving you a higher perspective. And these two things, jnana and vairagya, they're concomitant qualities that come in when you practice the mantra.
So I heard that guided mantra helps.
My mom believed in that.
Really? You say it and you find a talking Right.
So we have a few more minutes left. I think we maybe that'd be all right with everybody. I'm just trying to introduce the Kirtan so you feel comfortable with it. Because at first, sometimes there's feelings like, sitting in the office and doing this kind of thing. But I'm just introducing it so you're kind of aware of the fact that Kirtan is a bona fide kind of meditation. It's very powerful. You can do anywhere. And then later you'll become aware that there are Kirtans going on here, there, and everywhere, all over the Bay Area. And then encourage you to start connecting with those. See for yourself, transformative. Want to do another Kirtan? Yes? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Rama So I recommend that you try the mantra at other times during the day, and maybe do a little bit of japa in the morning, experiment, and just be there for the mantra. Let your attention go back to the mantra and notice for yourself what a transformative effect it has. And see if you experience this uh, connection with Gyan and Vairagya coming naturally into your life just by doing the mantra. This is the claim that is given in the Bhakti scriptures. It's there for you to test out for yourself and let's see your practice. Last reflection. You looked it too.
I'm trying to go as it
And the two you were saying last, that one that particular tune, it can be done morning or evening. That specific morning one. The whole song. Perception.
So, the experience was that I felt really well after being on the
Oh, we're going around.
Yeah.
I think I always liked the sense of, like, feel like you're part of the bigger.
Nice. Focus and just be there for it.
I was thinking, I should probably give it some more time to try this out sincerely, practice my raga. I need to, that's my goal, kind of.
Kind of developing taste and
Yes.
emphasis for it. Nice. Yeah, where attention goes, energy flows. That's why this is part of the practice, is to hear about it and to come together and hear the benefits. Because then the mind wants to go there. And so just try it at home this week as much as you can or whenever you can. Experiment and bring back any of your experiences. That would be really powerful. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy lives to come to this very fulfilling to be here with all of you. Chanting.
So next week we have our final session of Atma course.
Oh, next week is final?
Yeah.
Oh.
Time goes so fast, right? So coordination, and then probably we can decide what to do afterwards. We have some plans. I'm sure you have some plans.
you'll be in touch.
What's the theme for next week?
Next week is between
Wow.
the part, the party and part of it. Really important.
That's on the website.
Just before that, when we go from here to
I mean, it doesn't get a small video.